Hello everyone, this is Dr. Saili Kandari. A very good morning. Yesterday I had a call with a patient and I really wanted to share something about that. This is a patient who had completed her family. She already has a child and she was suffering from endometriosis even before she got pregnant, and she was currently in her early 40s. She had gone to around four centers, surgical centers, gynecological surgical centers, and every one of them told her that hysterectomy, a complete hysterectomy, is what would be required in her case. Uh, they even said, because you have endometriomas on both sides of your ovary, we won't be able to save your ovaries. So this was what their experience was when they tried to access care in India in the top hospitals of the area, not specifically in Mumbai, but they had visited a couple of cities. And when they had visited here, we looked at the reports, we looked at the multiple transvaginal scans. We also looked at the fact that she had, anemia. Her hemoglobin was always dropping, primarily because she was bleeding so heavily every month because of menorrhagia with endometriosis. She had a huge submucous fibroid, which was also causing this, and her HB was dropping, internally dropping primarily because of one of these parameters. Now, the other thing was that yes, she had endometriomas on both sides of her ovaries, and yes, those endometriomas were taking up more than 50% of the size of the ovary. However, so we dug deep for her, primarily for her, because she was very disturbed with the fact that at the age of 42, 43, she had been told total hysterectomy, and she said, very specifically, she said, I remember, I don't want to go in early menopause. My grandmother did not have menopause until they were in their, 53 to 55 age group. So she belonged from a background where, menopause was something that didn't occur that quickly. And she said, I know this is definitely going to affect my life, and I have spoken to other women who have undergone early hysterectomies on Reddit and other channels, and it's very scary. So considering that and considering the clinical situation, we sat with a medical board as in a group of expert physicians, surgeons that we work internally with at Akruti IVF and Women's Hospital. And we discuss with each one of them individually and sometimes in conjunction as to what options are available for her. And although many of them were of the opinion that yes, a total hysterectomy was the primary option, we also pushed from our side, from especially our side, from Akruti's side, we pushed them to think a little bit deeper and tell them, is it really going to affect outcomes if you try to preserve her uterus and her ovaries? Now, this is a discussion that can go either ways. This is something that is difficult to assess before you actually put in the trocar or the camera or the laparoscope and see what the situation is like inside sometimes, even with a pelvic MRI. So what happened eventually was we went for the fertility preservation scenario. We said, this particular woman, yes, she has completed her family, we agree, but the ovaries have a role for another 8 to 10 years for her, and surgical menopause is brutal for women. So let's try to give her an option, and also let's make her understand that this can cause recurrence, and yes, she may require a total hysterectomy in the future if her symptoms do not improve despite our best efforts. And with this counseling session lasted 2-3 times of counseling with the couple, with the family, to make them understand what the caveats could be, what the pros are, what the cons are. After all of this, they agreed to try their best to preserve the ovaries and the uterus we went ahead with the surgery. The surgery went well. Since her HB was low, we had to put her on ferrous carboxymaltose, FCM. We had arranged Paxils for her. So after all of this happened, uh, 2 years after the surgery, I had a call with her. And she is so very happy currently with her quality of life. Yes, she had some symptoms because we had given her long-acting Lupride. But after that, after she has resumed her periods, we are going to plan to put her on Dinogus, and she is traveling again to get the Mirena insertion with us. We also coordinated with the European, we communicate via clinical handoffs, clinical handoff letters with the European doctors or the telehealth doctors that are available in certain parts of Europe or America, and it really helps them coordinate care. So, truly global care is possible. Understanding the woman's point of view is possible. Giving options and expecting a good outcome is possible. That's all. This case was very close to my heart, primarily because this was about a woman who is as old as I am, I guess. And, the fact that we have options now, and the fact that we can provide these options and provide this woman an alternative is truly, truly reassuring for our community. Thank you.